Hey everyone, welcome to Augmented Voices. We'll be using Illuminate AI to take a deep dive into generative AI. This time around, we're looking at how AI is becoming more than just a tool, more like...
A collaborator.
Exactly.
And a powerful one. We're seeing AI change how creative work gets done, how businesses do things, even how we power all this new tech.
Yeah, it's really changing fast. Speaking of changing, let's talk Adobe. Remember when everyone thought AI image generators were going to kill Photoshop?
Right, like it was the end of an era for creative software.
And Adobe just came out swinging. They basically dropped a ton of AI features into all their software, Photoshop, Premiere, everything. Now you can edit images using text prompts or even generate whole videos from scratch, all within the apps people are already familiar with.
And I think that's what's smart about it. Adobe's not trying to replace what people know, they're building on it, giving their existing users, these artists and designers, a whole new set of tools. It's about augmenting human creativity, not replacing it.
So do you think this is going to bring a lot of new people into creative fields? Or is this more for people who are already pros to give them an edge?
Probably both. On the one hand, these AI tools make it easier to get started. That could open doors for people who might not have considered creative work before. But at the same time, experienced professionals who use these tools well, they'll be able to do amazing new things, push the limits of what's possible.
It makes you wonder, though, where do we draw the line between human creativity and AI? How do we figure that out when AI is becoming such a big part of the creative process?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's not going away anytime soon. And it goes beyond just can AI make art. It's about what happens when AI is woven into the fabric of creativity itself. It's a fascinating question, but there are no easy answers.
Definitely something to think about. Now let's shift gears to OpenAI, the folks behind ChatGPT. They just announced something called the Swarm framework. Sounds kind of ominous, but it's actually pretty interesting.
Less ominous, more like controlled chaos, in a good way. Basically, Swarm is a way to manage multiple AI agents at the same time, like putting together a team of AI assistants that each have their own specialties.
So instead of just having one AI chatbot to talk to, we could have a whole team of them, each one an expert in something different.
Exactly. Imagine an AI that's great at market research, another one that's amazing at analyzing data, and another one that can write you perfect marketing copy. The Swarm framework lets all these different AIs work together. They can share information, solve problems as a team. It's pretty powerful.
So we're moving past just giving an AI a single prompt and towards these complex interactions where we're collaborating with a whole team of AIs.
Exactly. It's a big step towards what some people are calling an agentic future, where AI agents aren't just tools anymore, they're active partners in our work and our lives. Think of it like having a team of AI experts on call 24/7, always ready to help.
And this isn't just some far-off sci-fi idea, is it? Companies are already using AI agents in their products.
Oh, absolutely. We're seeing it everywhere, from how we search the web to the software we use every day, the way we find information, the way we get work done, even how we think about technology. It's all changing, really, fundamentally.
Makes you wonder what this means for jobs in the future. Will everyone have an AI assistant by the end of the decade? And if so, what skills are people going to need to be successful in that kind of world?
Those are the big questions, and we'll definitely be digging into those more later. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's talk about how this all ties into what Google's doing with their Notebook LM. So you remember how Google came out with that Notebook LM thing a while back?
Yeah, the one that could summarize your documents like a podcast? That was pretty wild, but it sounds like they've been busy.
Oh, they definitely haven't been sitting still. They've added a bunch of new stuff, like you can use it to make interactive study guides. There are even some business applications in the works. And get this, it can answer questions in real time now.
Wait, hold on. Real-time questions. So like if I'm reading a paper and something doesn't make sense, I don't have to go open up another tab and start Googling.
Nope, you can just ask Notebook LM right then and there. It's like having your expert sitting next to you ready to explain anything you don't understand.
That's kind of crazy when you think about it.
And it goes beyond just getting answers. Notebook LM is designed to get you to really engage with what you're reading. You can have these back and forth conversations with your documents, dive into specific parts, really make sure you're absorbing the information.
It's like we're moving past just passively reading or watching stuff. Now we can actually interact with information, ask it questions, really get our hands dirty.
Exactly. It's a whole new way to learn and explore ideas.
But all this AI power doesn't come cheap, right? Like all these fancy language models must take a ton of computing power to run.
You're telling me.
So how are we going to keep up? Bigger server farms? More renewable energy?
Well, those are part of it, but some people are even talking about nuclear power.
Nuclear. Like we're going back to the future with plutonium reactors.
Not quite that dramatic, but yeah, nuclear is definitely making a comeback. Especially among the big tech companies like Google and Amazon. They're putting a lot of money into something called small modular reactors, or SMRs.
Okay, SMRs. I've heard that term thrown around. How are they different from the giant nuclear power plants we all know and sometimes love?
Think of them like mini nuclear reactors. You can build them in a factory and then ship them out and assemble them on site. So they're much faster and cheaper to deploy than those huge traditional reactors.
Interesting.
And because they're smaller, you can put them in a lot more places, closer to where the power is actually needed.
So it's not just about making more energy, it's about making it more efficient too.
Exactly. And we can't forget about the environmental impact. These SMRs are designed to generate clean energy, and some of them can even use recycled nuclear waste, which is huge when you think about how much energy AI is going to need in the future.
So are we saying that nuclear power could be the thing that makes the AI revolution possible?
Well, it's definitely an interesting idea. On the one hand, it could be a way to meet the huge energy needs of AI and do it in a way that doesn't wreck the planet.
But there's still a lot of fear around nuclear power, right?
For sure, and those concerns are valid. Safety, waste disposal, what happens if there's an accident, these are all things we need to take seriously.
Yeah, it's not like those fears came from nowhere.
Exactly. But the technology is changing, and SMRs offer some potential solutions to those problems.
It feels like we're at a turning point. We need more energy to keep AI moving forward. But we need that energy to be clean and sustainable too.
And that's why the decisions we make right now are so important. How we build our energy infrastructure will have a huge impact, not just on AI, but on the entire planet.
It really highlights how technology isn't just about bits and bytes.
Absolutely.
It's connected to everything else: energy, infrastructure, the way we live our lives.
Right. It's all intertwined.
And we have to be mindful of the choices we're making, because those choices have consequences down the road.
It's like we're building the airplane while we're flying it, and we're still figuring out what kind of fuel to use.
And that's generative AI in a nutshell, huh?
It's moving fast, it's exciting, but it comes with big questions.
Big questions that we need to keep asking. So as we wrap up this deep dive into augmented voices and the future of generative AI, is there one big thing you hope our listeners take away from this?
I think the most important thing to remember is this. The future of AI isn't predetermined. It's not some fixed path that we're just along for the ride. We all have a role to play in shaping that future by asking tough questions, making informed choices, and having these conversations. So stay curious, stay engaged, because the future of AI depends on all of us.
That's a great point to end on. And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. If you had a team of AI agents at your disposal, what would you do with that power? What big problems would you try to solve? Think about it and let us know. And in the meantime, thanks for joining us for another episode of Augmented Voices. We'll catch you next time as we continue to explore the ever-changing world of generative AI.